The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Disclaimer. This channel features satire, parody, and comedic content intended for entertainment only. All characters, events, and statements are fictional or exaggerated for comedic effect. Any resemblance to real people or events is purely coincidental and should not be taken as fact. Ah, bollocks. All right, let's just get on with it. We haven't got all day.
Focus.
Think about, is that Rita from Coronation Street? Not Rita, Vera.
Focus.
Focus on Britain.
This is a Focus on Britain presentation.
The studio lights dimmed. Piers straightened his coat, smoothing the lapels with a practiced flick of his wrists. The red recording light blinked off, and for a second he held his expression, calm, assured, faintly smug, before letting it drop. He gave the cameras a final nod, the kind that said another flawless performance, and signed off. Time to call it a day, he muttered to himself, his voice echoing slightly in the suddenly quiet studio. Piers lingered just long enough to feel important, then turned and made his way out, coat over his arm, already rehearsing tomorrow's opinions in his head. Outside, the air hit him, warm, bright, almost theatrical. For a moment, the streets felt like California, not just in temperature, but in attitude. Palm trees, were those palm trees, lined the sidewalks. People smiled, actually smiled. A jogger passed him, slowing just enough to nod. "Morning," Piers blinked. "Yes, quite," he replied, slightly thrown. A family stood at the corner, waving small flags for no obvious reason. One of them called out, "Have a great day," with unsettling sincerity. "Quite right," Piers said, nodding back, unsure if he was being filmed. Cars rolled past, horns chirping politely like they were congratulating each other for existing. A driver gave him a thumbs up. Piers instinctively returned it, then frowned at his own hand like it had betrayed him. Two joggers ran by in sync, chatting and laughing. No complaints, no visible irritation, just contentment. Odd, Piers murmured. Then, as if the universe wanted to push things further, he spotted a golden retriever sitting by a cafe table. The dog lifted its paw deliberately, unmistakably, and held it there. Piers stared. The owner smiled. "He's friendly." "Yes," Piers said slowly. "I gathered." Piers walked on, adjusting his pace, scanning faces, testing the edges of the illusion. Blink. Everything changed. The light flattened. The warmth drained away like someone had turned off a filter. The wide avenue tightened into a narrow red-bricked street, slick with drizzle. The air smelled faintly of wet pavement, stale takeaway, and something indefinably tired. Piers didn't even need to look twice. "Right," he muttered. Another figure passed, shoulders hunched, muttering to himself. A car crept by, tires hissing on wet asphalt. The horn let out a low, irritated grumble. Not polite, not cheerful, just weary. A child echoed from somewhere nearby, "Oi, dickhead!" pointing directly at him with alarming confidence. Piers sighed. "Yes, thank you. Welcome home." He made his way through the streets, with the familiarity of someone returning to a place that had never pretended to like him. By the time he reached his Kensington home, the drizzle had settled into a steady, miserable mist. The house loomed, large, pristine, faintly smug in its own way. Piers unlocked the door and stepped inside. Silence. Not peaceful silence. Empty silence. He paused in the hallway, listening. No footsteps, no television, no distant clatter, just the soft hum of a place waiting to be noticed. He glanced at the answering machine. No messages. He moved through the house, slower now. His shoes echoed faintly against polished floors. A chair sat slightly out of place. A glass on a side table, half finished, forgotten. Piers put on a shirt that his wife must have left out. She always did things like that. It was slightly out of his usual style. He tended to dress more conservatively, with suits being his thing. Poured himself a large glass of red. Opened the fridge. There, in the cool, sterile light, sat caviar. Naturally, he ate it straight from the container with the solemn concentration of a man consuming tiny fish eggs to emotionally process his life choices. In the bathroom, everything gleamed. Marble, chrome, carefully arranged perfection. That's when he heard it. Faint, indistinct. A sound that didn't belong to the house's usual quiet. He froze. There it was again, reaching the bedroom door. He hesitated only a second before pushing it open. He scanned the room, then darted to the wardrobe and slipped inside, pulling the door just enough to leave a narrow crack. Darkness closed around him. "Right," he whispered to himself. "Brilliant." He adjusted his position, trying not to breathe too loudly, absurdly aware of how ridiculous he must look, silently hoping Narnia wouldn't call. Through the thin gap, he saw movement, shadows shifting across the bed. the low, unmistakable sounds that needed no real interpretation. Recognition came not as a shock, but as a slow, inevitable settling of pieces into place. His wife and Russell. Piers remained perfectly still. There was a long moment where something, anger, outrage, dignity might have taken over, but it didn't. Instead, he exhaled quietly, leaning back against the coats. "Of course," he murmured. He adjusted slightly for a better view, not eager, not horrified, just observing. Sometimes, he thought dryly, it's safer and far more amusing just to watch. Well, folks, that's that. If you're interested in Russell Brand, then check out our other videos. They make just as much sense as anything else on this channel. And with that, I bid you good day. Like, subscribe, or don't. Mardy arse.
The studio lights went dying like a cigarette in Soho. Piers tucked his collar straight, gave the nation one last show, blue and gold behind him. Righteous angles and a sharpened grin, signed his name across the silence. He stepped outside and he breathed it in. For a moment, the red sunset on a boulevard, palm trees in the park, those strangers smiling in his way. Old bright shirt in Kensington rain, a button wrong but he wore it the same. Lipstick on the dining room glass, he just stepped around the aftermath. There is caviar in the fridge, there is disgrace upstairs, but he is sipping red like he has not got care. Front door open to a palace, it's atmosphere of heavy stone, massive halls and marble echoes, but two somehow louder all alone. Dining table looked like New Year's Eve had died a little rough, wine like blood across the oak wood, with silk and sequins in a tuft. He just blinked, he kept on walking like this happened every week, found a crumpled burst of colour. Old white shirt in Kensington rain, a button wrong but he wore it the same. Lipstick on the dining room glass, he just stepped around the aftermath. There is caviar in the fridge, there is disgrace upstairs, but he is sipping red like he has not got care. He struck the dog, he scooped black pearls, he wandered the kitchen, the tiles felt cold, the house felt big, a noise down the hall, a creak, a sigh, a night slipped sideways. Old bright shirt in Kensington rain, a button wrong but he wore it the same. Lipstick on the dining room glass, he just stepped around the aftermath. There is caviar in the fridge, there is disgrace upstairs, but he is sipping red like he has not got care. In the bright shirt, in the bright shirt, Kensington rain, Kensington rain, Kensington rain, Kensington rain.
That I've never been to Jeffrey Epstein's island, I'm 100% positive. I never met the man, never went to his island. I met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes at a book launch. If you've got any supplementary
mentioned a lot of times.
No
mentioned
problem.
a lot of times in there, sir.
I have no problem. You're not, I don't think, if I say this very respectfully, I don't think you're very well informed about things like that, or you wouldn't go there because it's.
Why are you in the files?
I watched the documentary. I think you're a fucking idiot. I think you're a sexist, misogynist, homophobic twerp. You're a little half-wit, and you'll make your little followers
don't get rattled.
Have a little laugh
don't get
and everything
rattled.
else.
No.
I couldn't care less about your silly little insults. You're It's like a 2-year-old. Why would I care?
As soon as you're away.
All right, let's
Who's
end
this?
this.
Applications are open.
All right, let's just
That's your ting, bro. That's your girl.
Let's end this, please.
Cooked.
You know what? I'm not doing this. Sorry, guys. It's pointless.